If you asked me 5 years ago to start talking about the Toyota Prius, well, I wouldn't be saying a whole lot. Today, I've got the new redesigned 2023 Prius Prime SE plug-in. So if you're not for that full electric vehicle, this is going to give you the best of both worlds with a gas combustion engine mixed with a hybrid system as well. So if you want to go fully electric, you can. If you want to use just gas, you also can do that. If you're a commuter looking for the perfect full-size, reliable vehicle, this could be a very good option for you. My name is Aiden with Upper James Toyota, and today I'm taking a closer look to see what they have changed on the redesigned 2023 and newer Priuses. We're going to take a closer peek to see if the improvements they have made are worth buying a new Prius versus an old generation. So stay tuned and check it out. So for a vehicle that we've offered for quite a few years, the Prius definitely needed a facelift model. And I'm very happy to say that this model actually makes the Prius look sporty and something that I would consider buying if I ever needed a very, very efficient commuter car. Now, the Prius for me, always growing up, I always looked at it, and my grandma had a Prius, for example. You'd see a couple of them on the road, but you never really saw any young person in a Prius. It was someone who wanted a really affordable, efficient vehicle that was very good on gas. And now I think they've added the styling while still holding the same efficiency side of things onto the new generation. Now, this being a 23, this was the first year you could get a redesigned Prius. And this being a Prime, it's giving you the best of both worlds where you can plug it in or just use your regular gas engine. Now, taking a closer peek onto the front end, this color started in 2023 and is now probably my favorite color in our lineup, called Guardian Gray. Now, it's only offered on a Prius so far. There's no other vehicles you can get this in. And I really hope Toyota integrates this color to different models, because I think this color would do very, very well on any other of our vehicles that we currently offer in our lineup. Now, onto the front end of this vehicle, this one does have blacked out badging, which is a genuine Toyota accessory you can be getting from the factory for most of our newer vehicles in our lineup today. However, I do think what they've done on the front end with these lights, they're kind of wrap around to the bottom half of your hood. I think that this has definitely come directly from what is now on the market, the Crown Signia, and the first one to market with this design, which would have been the Camry. I think that the front end styling is something they have done a very good job at, and is something that you see on the road, and it actually kind of turns your head as to, what kind of vehicle that is. If people haven't seen them on the road and they saw this front end, I guarantee they wouldn't be guessing this is a Prius, which is pretty cool coming from a vehicle that's been in our lineup for many, many years. Now, this being an entry-level Prius, you still get quite a few features. The outside definitely changed a little bit, going between the 3 different trim levels on a Prime, an SE, to an XSE, to an XSE technology, or an advanced package. I think that the entry level is gonna give you the best bang for your buck. Now, if you're looking for all of the features, then yes, this one won't be coming with it. But if you're looking for something that's the best on fuel because it has the smaller tires, this is the one. If you're looking for one that still comes with a push button start or a heated steering wheel and heated seats, this is also going to be the package you could be landing on. And I'll touch more onto that on the inside of the vehicle. If I'm looking at the front end, the only downfall I'm going to be saying is going to be this plastic piece down here. I think that on this color being a darker gray, or even, knocking on the door of a blue color, I think that's the only thing that kind of looks like a bit of an eyesore to me. Now, it does kind of match the wheels a bit. The wheels, or I should say the rims, are probably not my favorite on this package, but they're the smallest, which means this is gonna be getting the best fuel efficiency between both your electric and gas engine. So I think it's a pretty good entry-level package, just in case you're in the market for a Prius. All right, now, as I mentioned on the front end of this vehicle, this will be the most efficient version of a Prius Prime because it comes with smaller wheels than an XSE or a fully loaded Prime. Now, these are going to be 17 inches, and they're probably not going to be the most favorable wheels that we offer on these two. If you do look at what an XSE or the XSE technology or advanced package comes with, I will be taking those wheels over this one all day long. However, for the most fuel efficient side, these will be it because they are smaller than those two packages. For me, if I'm buying this vehicle, I'm buying it for the efficiency of it. Yes, I'd like the vehicle to also look really nice. I don't think it looks bad, but it's probably not going to be my favorite out of the two different options that you'll be getting. But at least on the fuel efficiency side, you'll be using the least amount of gas versus the other two models that we offer on the Prime side. Now, looking onto the side profile of a Prius, still kind of shares a lot of similar features with the outgoing model, with this interesting sloped roof, the different door designs and whatnot. However, I definitely think the remodel design and the way that this one looks is going to be favorable versus the prior generation Prius. You guys let me know down below if you have a prior generation and if you were very shocked when they did release this vehicle, what it looked like and what the inside features, were capable of getting you versus the outgoing model, which I don't even think comes anywhere close to the features and the looks that you get on a new generation Prius. Now, the only downfall I would say to this is going to be this interesting back door, which is situated up here. You push this button in and that will obviously open the door for you. Now, I know I've mentioned this before in a couple other different models that we have in our lineup, and this kind of reminds me of the CHR. Now, the Prius does sit obviously a little bit lower than the CHR, but if you had any smaller kids in the back seat that maybe couldn't reach up here, this is kind of a really awkward spot to open a door. Not to mention is that the whole weight of the door is under the handle, which means you actually kind of have to use a little bit of force to actually open this door up. So if you did have smaller kids, maybe that would be a little bit harder to get in and out of, but I'd say for everyday use and for most people, I think it'd be more than fine for you and your vehicle needs. Now, onto the back end of the Prius, I think Toyota's done a very good job at styling the front end, but I also think they've done a very good job at styling the rear end of this vehicle yet again. I think what they've kind of done to integrate the sloped back with this massive rear glass definitely makes the vehicle stand out amongst any other vehicle on the road. I really don't even know which vehicle this compares to on the market right now, styling-wise, efficiency-wise, so I think the Prius is kind of a standalone on that topic and is something that I think most people would be gravitating towards, especially coming in at the efficiency and the price point that one of these come in at. Now, looking at the rear end, I really do like what they've done here, showing off Prius along your back trunk here. I think that the way they've laid that out definitely is in bigger letters, but it's just telling people that you are in a new generation Prius. And again, the rear end of this, we don't really have any vehicles that have, say a light that stretches all the way across, that's styled this way at all. So I think Toyota has done a pretty cool job. Obviously down below in the bottom right corner, it does say Prime. So that is our plug-in version of any of our vehicles, which currently are offered as a RAV4 or the Prius. So this is going to be the sedan version and the RAV4 would be the SUV version. Now, looking at this package alone, you open up the trunk. It's a manual trunk, it's not a power back door. You can get the other two different trim levels that's offered in. You can configure one of those to have a power back door, just so it's a little bit more easier access getting in and out of anything in the trunk that you would need. However, it does still offer quite a lot of space. The seats will fold down as a 60-40 split, so you can still throw in a lot of groceries, any trips up to the cottage, any big suitcases. It's still practical for everyday use, and you necessarily don't need a full SUV to be getting you that practicality of storage in a vehicle. The only interesting thing on this vehicle that I've noted, and it's obviously going to be expected on a vehicle that's going to be a plug-in. Well, on your driver's side, here's your gas tank here. You pop that open, fill it up with fuel, easy, everyone knows that. But then you jump over to the passenger side and you have another tank here, but it's not a tank, it's gonna be your charging port. So it is really interesting that it does have two different spots of, electric one side, gas on the other side, which is interesting what Toyota has done. I like it because it's actually kind of symmetrical and you always know that, the passenger side is going to be your plug-in side and your driver's side is always going to be your gas side, which I think is a pretty interesting thing they've done. They could have made just one big gas cap, which one half could be, the plug-in, the other half could be for actual fuel. So it's an interesting thing that Toyota has done to maybe make this a bit user-friendly. I'm not too sure the exact reason why they did two separate ones. I like it because it's symmetrical. You guys let me know down below what you guys think about it. Alrighty, now jumping into the Prius Prime. Now, this being an entry level, you're still getting quite a few features. Now, if you're looking on the inside of this versus say a regular Prius, the most comparable one to this you'll be getting is an XLE on the non-plug-in version. The only big difference, the XLE comes standard with Softex or leather. The SE model, which is the entry level, just comes with cloth seats. Now, I don't mind it. They're still very comfortable, and the only difference you can really tell on the inside versus the two is that a Prime comes with all of this red. So red stitching on the seats, your dash is red. I have a little bit on the driver's side as well, which is only specific to the Prime model of the Prius, which I'm not really too sure why they did that. I know that the previous generation for say a RAV4, anything before a 2024, it would say Prime in red on the bottom right corner of the trunk. However, for 25, they've now kind of moved away from RAV4 Prime, it's just called RAV4 Plug-in. So they're kind of changing up a little bit. I'm not too sure why the red was a theme on the inside here, but it's definitely something a little bit different. And it's, you know, I'm not a huge fan. I'm also not against the red either. It's just something a little bit different on the inside of a vehicle. Now, the only couple things I guess I can really touch upon is that because it's an entry-level vehicle, yes, you'll be missing quite a few things that the other two packages offer. Now, if you move up to an XSE, which is your next step above this, yeah, you do have quite a few changes. Your biggest change is a full glass moonroof. Now, having that on the inside of this car, it's not functional. You cannot open that glass up at all. It won't even tilt, won't even slightly slide open. You just have a little power, I guess I want to say a cover that will open and close. So you can kind of dim the light coming in if it was say super sunny out or whatever the reason was. Other than that though, I think I'd really want that on this car. I wish that you could spec this with the glass roof because I think people would pay that. To have that feature on the inside of a Prius. This definitely feels a little bit more squished, especially when I'm in the back seat. Now, again, I am someone who's a bit taller. However, I still think that's a feature that someone would actually want to purchase. But with that being said, on the front end, you still get heated seats, a heated steering wheel. All of your screens are the same, minus your driver-centered screen in the middle here. This will actually get a little bit bigger to 12.3 inches, depending on the package that you are choosing. And I think that having a larger screen, yes, that's something I would be paying for, especially you add that with cooled seats and leather and a JBL sound system. You do get quite a few features moving up to a higher level for a Prius Prime, but for a base, to still have push button start and all of these great features, I still think Toyota has kind of hit the mark for someone looking for a vehicle that's coming in at a great price point that also qualifies for a great government incentive rebate. Now, here in Ontario, the government rebate or an IZEF rebate comes on after tax and it's $5,000. So that is a pretty big price jump. Or I shouldn't say a price jump, it's more of a price decrease, but that's a great incentive to put against the price of a new vehicle taxes in. So I think that, you know, since this was redesigned, we are selling quite a few of them, and I think they are doing well on the market. The only few downfalls I'm gonna say about this vehicle, number one is going to be up here. My rear visibility through the rear view mirror is not the greatest. The slope back, even though that piece of glass is huge, it's not really great actually visually looking out the back. It's very small, you can't really see a whole lot, so I think that could be a bit of an issue for some people down the road. The other thing that I've actually noted is the fact that, sure, I'm taller. If I move this steering wheel, this is as low as the wheel can get, and this is as high as the wheel can get. So if I left it at a comfortable position, which is here, it's interesting because my hand actually blocks my tachometer, which is displayed on the dash. So I think that's interesting, and it's something that I never really feel that comfortable in a Prius. I think the wheel is sitting way too low, and I feel like I'm sitting too far back when I'm actually in a comfortable driving position. I can never get it set up that my mirrors and the way that I'm sitting in the vehicle actually fit for how the steering wheel and all the screens, you know, how they're laid out for me to actually visually see what is going on. So that's my only complaint on the inside. The other big thing to consider, you'll be getting our new shifters in some of our vehicles. Now, this is shared in quite a few vehicles that we have currently. So you're gonna have this in the Prius, in the Crown Signia, a Grand Highlander Hybrid Max. There are quite a few vehicles that we have the shifter in. It takes a bit of time to get used to. However, it's very usable. It's not situated here. It's more, you know, back towards your cup holders. So you actually, you know, have more usable space for any storage on the inside. So I think that's a really good addition that they've added onto this vehicle. If you're someone who's had that standard shifter that you go from park all the way down to drive and reverse and neutral in the middle, that seems, you know, normal. People jump into that car and they're like, okay, I know how to drive. However, in this one, it's kind of funny that there's so many times that I'll have clients here test driving one of these and they actually don't know how to shift this through the different gears because it is interesting. You basically put your foot on the brake, you go over and down for drive, over and up for reversed, over once for neutral, and then push the park in, and that's gonna put the car back into park. So they've done a few interesting things. It does take some time to get used to, but once you are used to it, it's not terrible. Now I'm gonna jump into the back seat to kind of see how comfortable I am sitting in the back, because this does obviously have a sloped roof, just to see exactly how comfortable I can fit. Alrighty, now jumping into the back seat of the Prius. So sitting back here, I left my seat exactly where I was comfortable up there, and legroom's definitely a little bit squished here. I wish that, you know, if I kind of put my legs a little bit further out, I have more usable space on the backs of these seats. Other than that though, I do feel a bit squished, especially with my headroom. I kind of feel like I have to slouch down to actually feel a little bit comfortable back here. So I can only imagine if you had multiple people in the back and you had 5, you know, people in this vehicle, yes, it would feel pretty squishy, and I would be vouching for one of the seats up front. Now, looking for anything in the rear that, you know, you'd want in a car, for an entry-level vehicle, yes, there's no heated rear seats. They're just cloth seats in this vehicle. You definitely still do have a couple charging ports down here. So a couple lightning ports, and also a full 150 watt as well for any laptops or stuff like that. But other than that, you're not getting a whole lot. You pull down your center here. Yep, you've got 2 cup holders, which is nice. Like I mentioned in the trunk, these seats will fold down as a split, which is nice, and they're actually flat versus most of our other vehicles that, you know, a RAV, if you've seen any of my previous videos, they kind of sit up a bit like this. So there is more usable space. I've actually seen a YouTube video once before of someone putting 3 full golf bags in here because it folds completely flat. So you definitely do have usable space. I just think that, you know, onto the rear end of one of these, you're not buying the Prius for all the space in the world. You're buying it because they're super efficient. It's a great commuter vehicle. They qualify for green plates in Ontario, which means you can use an HOV lane with only 1 person, and obviously your government incentive, which is a huge reason I would ever be buying in the future a new Prius. Now, this being the most fuel efficient version of a Prius Prime you can be getting, one of these bad boys will be averaging 4.5 liters combined between highway and city, which is a little bit better versus 4.9 liters combined on either of the other 2 models for a Prime. So it definitely is about a ½ liter increase, or I guess decrease, that you won't be spending on fuel, which will actually add up over time. So if you're in the market for a very affordable, reliable, and a vehicle that you could be still loading up with a lot of things, a new Prius Prime could be the way to go. Now, talking about price point for one of these, an entry-level Prime for 2023, which was the redesigned model year for this vehicle, this comes in at $38,150. Obviously, you add in your freight and PDI, subtotal of taxes, dealer charges, licensing fee. But other than that, when you get to your top dollar on this and your full all-in amount, then you take off the $5,000 ISEF rebate. So it definitely is a pretty good incentive if you're looking for something that's going to be a great commuter car, which is also great on fuel. Now, talking about fuel on one of these, they do take regular gas, so you add that with a full charge on one of these, you'll be averaging, if this car is broken in, you know, it's not super hot out, it's not super cold out, on optimal conditions, you would be getting combined between your gas engine and a full electric charge about 1,100 kilometers per tank and that full electric charge, which is quite the distance. So if you're someone who's just doing city driving, for example, you're not taking this on any highways, you could charge this all the time. And one of my customers lives locally, only drives in the city. He only fills up about once a month because he rarely goes on the highway. And with the full electric system, and if you're just running on the EV mode, you can be taking this for a total of about 74 kilometers at about maximum speed of 110 kilometers an hour. So if you're someone who's just in the city and doesn't want to use much gas, this could be the pick for you. Now, we do have a model here for test drive, so if you've never driven a new Prius, please come down, book a test drive to come see what the new redesigned Prius does and how that feels driving it on the road. Again, my name is Aiden with Upper James Toyota. Please do not forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss any more of our future related Toyota content, and we'll check you guys out in the next video.